Greetings, everyone, and welcome to my 2018 DVD and Blu-ray collection overview. Alrighty, so today we're going to do things a little bit differently. Normally with these overview videos, I just kind of focus on one shelf. But here we've got this stuff right here in the front row, and it's basically all the only DVDs that are on this front row. The rest is all these old VHS clamshells and Transformers and stuff like that. So, and this kind of goes with this anyway. So here we've got animated sitcoms like Family Guy and Simpsons and Futurama, stuff like that. We've also got our Disney section, some other family stuff, some family movies, and some comedies that, well, quite frankly, wouldn't fit on the other comedy shelf. And these ones are a little bit more family-friendly, I think, than some of the stuff on the other shelf there. So let's check it out. Okay, so starting off here with the family section, we've got quite a lot of stuff here. So what family section would be complete without some Disney? So we have here the Aladdin Diamond Edition. Very nice. I'm not a huge Disney collector, to be honest, but I've got a few here. A few faves and a few that viewers have sent me to kind of fill out the collection a bit. So here we have Aladdin and the King of Thieves and the Return of Jafar. Very nice, the two direct-to-video sequels. Then we have The Jungle Book. This is the Diamond Edition. And, of course, these do have the slipcovers, which is very nice, very collectible, actually. If you can get the Disney editions with the slipcovers, that does increase the value for the collection. And then we have The Jungle Book 2, Robin Hood. I facetiously call it that because they actually reuse a lot of animation from The Jungle Book for Robin Hood, and it's kind of notorious for that. Disney kind of has a long history of reusing animation sequences just to save time and money, but ironically, it actually takes more time for the animators to do that than just create new sequences. But anyway, and we have The Sword and the Stone. Basically, the Disney take on the legend of King Arthur. A lot of fun. And then we have one that I like to watch every Halloween with Rosie. We've got The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. Honestly, when we watch it on Halloween, I usually just kind of skip ahead to the Ichabod Crane story. But it's quite fun. I remember the first time I showed that to Rose, I didn't tell her anything about it. And so we're watching it, and it's just the nice little story of Mr. Toad and everything. And then it gets to the Ichabod Crane story, and the last, 10 minutes of that is so freaking terrifying. I forgot just how scary that actually is. Like, when he's going through the forest at night and then the Headless Horseman starts coming after him. It's just fantastic. And then we got the Anniversary Edition. Doesn't say what anniversary. Anyway, the Signature Collection Edition of Bambi, which is actually one of my all-time favorites of the classics. And then we have the Signature Edition of Snow White. Very nice. And this one I like. I've actually owned it a few times on a few different formats. We have Fantasia and Fantasia 2000, which I actually still have yet to watch. But I've watched the original many, many times. I love it. It's just fantastic. And I really like the idea behind that as well, that it was basically presenting this sort of fantastical visual treat for children to help to introduce them to classical music. Then we have one of my favorite recent Disney movies. We got Wreck-It Ralph, which actually just recently got a sequel, which I think at the time of this recording is not out on Blu-ray yet. In fact, I don't think it's even been released in theaters yet, but definitely one I'm looking forward to. And then we got Inside Out. This is a nice collector's edition with some cards of the different characters. It's quite nice. This was, I think it was a Best Buy exclusive. But, yeah, very nice. And we got a couple of Looney Tunes related movies here. We've got Space Jam, which I know is a very nostalgic one for a lot of you. It was a little after my time, but it's still fun. I like it. And we got Looney Tunes Back in Action. I still have to actually crack this one open. I remember seeing bits of it when it was in theaters, though. It was when I worked in the theater. And then we have Ratchet and Clank, which I found out after the fact was produced by the guy who did that absolutely horrible new series based on Reboot. But this was okay. I don't know. Some people kind of crap on the movie of Ratchet and Clank, but I thought it was fine. Rosie and I enjoyed it. And we've got Smurfs, The Lost Village. I don't have any of the other Smurfs movies. Actually, I do have Smurfs and the Magic Flute, which I think I showed you in one of the other ones. I'll just grab it here. See, I have Smurfs and the Magic Flute. There you go. And then we've got Where the Wild Things Are, which I did quite an in-depth review of a while back. I really enjoyed this movie a lot, actually. And have since watched it with Rose, and she really liked it as well. And then we have The Little Prince. This is such a great movie. Bring the Tissues. Rose and I watched this together, and absolutely loved it. Rose is my 10-year-old daughter, by the way, for those of you who don't know. And then we have The Book of Life. There's been some really great sort of non-big studio animated films in recent years. Some really good stuff coming out lately. We have The Box Trolls. Very nice. You can see it has the nice, shiny, bumpy slipcover. And then Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the 25th anniversary edition. The slipcover for this is exceedingly rare, apparently, so yeah. And we got Horton Hears a Who. This, I think, is the original. Yeah, this isn't the movie version. This is the original animated special version. And it has two more specials on it. It's got the Dr. Seuss Butter Battle book and Daisy Head Maisie. So, very nice. And then I love this series so much. We've got Shrek, The Whole Story, which has all 4 Shrek movies. And a nice, nice box set. And then this is great. I love this collection so much. We've got Looney Tunes Platinum, which is basically, there's 50 shorts, all beautifully remastered in high def. Actually, there's more than that. There's 50 sort of showcased ones, and then there's a bunch of bonus ones as well. And then we got Volume 2. And then Volume 3, which sadly is the last one they did. They haven't done any more. But it's pretty good. I mean, it's all the original uncut shorts. Then we got the Tom and Jerry Golden Collection. This is a great set. A lot of the cartoons on here are presented in their original uncensored form for the first time in literally decades. So this is a great collection to get. And at the time of this recording, still fairly cheap as well. So if you're a Tom and Jerry fan, I definitely recommend that. And then we have a Monster Calls, which I still have to check out, actually. I've heard it's quite one that tugs at the heartstrings quite a bit. The Peanuts movie, which Rosie and I absolutely loved. This was so good. Like, this is such a treat for Peanuts fans. Like, it really just kind of hits all the notes, and all the familiar beats are there, and it's so much fun. Just a great, great family movie. Then we have Scooby-Doo Camp Scare. Got to get some Scooby-Doo in there, right? And The Golden Compass, which sadly was supposed to be the first of a series of movies based on a series of books. But the first one, I guess, didn't do very well, so they only did this one movie. However, I hear there may be a TV series adaptation in the works now, so keep an eye out for that. And then we got Monsters vs. Aliens. This is a fun one. Also notable in that I think it was one of the first shows they did, or first movies where they did a TV series based on it as well. And the TV series was a lot of fun. And then we got Monster House. Good one for Halloween, for sure. A lot of fun. Got The Last Unicorn. Great movie. There's a Shout Factory edition of that as well, apparently, which apparently is the better one to get. Then we have The Lorax. This is the one with Danny DeVito as the voice of the Lorax, the newer movie. This is the Steelbook edition. Quite nice. And we have Coraline, the 3D edition. Also includes the 2D edition, of course. And I'm just going to have to go over to the other side here because I can't reach that far. Hold on a second. Okay, here we are. So then we have the Flintstones and WWE and Stone Age SmackDown. The SpongeBob SquarePants movie, Sponge Out of Water. There was another SpongeBob movie prior to this, which I do not have, sadly. I think it came out before I kind of got into SpongeBob. I was very late to the SpongeBob party. Now I love it, but Garbage Pail Kids movie, based on the trading cards from the 80s. And then we have sort of some family movies here that, sort of comedy movies that that I think are a little more suitable for family viewing. We have The Breakfast Club, classic. Got some John Hughes. We got a bunch of John Hughes here, kind of a little John Hughes section. We got Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Weird Science. This is the, I guess, the pop art collection. I think inside it's, no, it's the same cover inside. I know some of these have, like, the regular cover underneath, but not this one. And then we got Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, the 30th Anniversary Edition. Man, it does not feel like this is 30 years old. And then, see, this one underneath has the regular cover. So kind of a nice bonus getting the slipcover there. And then we have Big. Classic Tom Hanks movie. Does this have the extended version? Yeah, this has both the theatrical version and the extended version. I still have yet to watch the extended version. I actually saw that movie in theaters. Yes, I'm old. Now you have Mean Girls. Such a great movie. Strange Brew. Gotta love Bob and Doug. And then we have a double bill here. We've got A Simple Twist of Fate with Steve Martin and Unstrung Heroes with Michael Richards and Andy McDowell and John Turturro. And then, not really family stuff, but it kind of ties into some of the stuff we're getting into. A lot of the stuff in the back is animated sitcoms that are kind of primetime ones and maybe not necessarily for the little kids. Got season 1 of Rick and Morty. Love this show so much. I was so stoked to find out they just got renewed for 70 more episodes. So if they continue doing 10 episodes a season, that means 7 more seasons guaranteed. Which makes me very happy. Check out the comics based on this as well. It is just as good as the show. They do such a good job. And then we got season 3. Pickle Rick, of course. There is a steelbook edition of this out. I just found out today, actually. Well, today at the time of this recording. Which looks really nice. This beautiful painted artwork on it. But I had already bought the regular edition, so not going to double dip just for nicer packaging. Alright, so now I need to take all of this off so we can get into the back. So just give me a moment here. Okay, so back over to this side we go briefly. We have the Hardy Boys and the Mystery of the Applegate Treasure. Very cool. I used to watch the 70s version of the Hardy Boys. It wasn't actually until quite a few years later I found out there was an even earlier version. I have a couple of the books, too, from when I was a kid. Just going to set these aside because we need to get to the ones underneath here. And then we got Mr. Boogedy and Bride of Boogedy. Be a good one to watch around Halloween. Might actually do that this year. I don't think I've ever actually seen them. And we have The Plague Dogs, which I think is finally getting a Blu-ray release, actually. So, looking forward to that. I will definitely be upgrading. And these are not really for kids, but I figured they kind of go with the grown-up animated stuff here. We have Heavy Traffic, classic Ralph Bakshi movie. I love Ralph Bakshi. I definitely need to get more of his stuff in my collection. I've only got a few of them. I got Coonskin. Alright, and then we get into some of our animated sitcoms here. We have the complete series of The Critic from the producers of The Simpsons. I really like this show, but it only lasted a couple seasons, sadly. I thought it was really funny. But, I mean, being a movie buff as well, I think particularly that's who the humor is really aimed at. And then we got Dilbert, the complete series. This is the original release. There was a Mill Creek re-release of this recently, which is probably a little cheaper than the original release. This one has a little bit more package art and, of course, a few more discs than the Mill Creek version. But great stuff. Love Dilbert. Mission Hill, possibly one of the most underrated animated series ever. This was so good. It's like a graphic novel, like an indie graphic novel brought to life. And the humor in it is just so freaking hilarious and so spot on with sort of modern youth culture and everything. It's just such a great show. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. And then what I like to call the Family Guy of its day, we have Duckman seasons 1 and 2. I think this also got a re-release recently. I remember CBS DVD released these really close to each other, back to back, and I just snagged them as soon as they came out. Then we have Duckman seasons 3 and 4, which wraps it all up. Such a great show. Jason Alexander. Oh, just so good. I actually didn't really care for it much when it was originally on, but then seeing it again on DVD, I just fell in love with it. It's. I think I was just a little too young to appreciate it, honestly, when it was originally on. And then, of course, we have. Oh, I gotta. I had to reacquire these a while back, and I wanted to get the original big box versions, just to kind of have the, the extra package art and everything. So this is Family Guy seasons. Well, it's seasons 1 and 2, but volume 1. And then we have volume 2. Sticker on there too, which of course is season 3. And then it was canceled. And then they put them out on DVD. And then they put this out, the Freakin' Sweet Collection. The reason to get this really is for the extras. I mean, the episodes are just repeats of stuff that's on the season sets. But there's some really fun extras on here, one of which is a commentary track by Stewie and Brian on their first road trip episode. So it's Seth MacFarlane in character, basically talking to himself for the duration of the commentary. And it's freaking hilarious. It's a lot of fun. Then we got Volume 3, which was the long-awaited return of Family Guy. Which I guess should actually go here. Because in between, just before the series came back, they did this direct-to-DVD movie, Stewie Griffin, The Untold Story. Which is great stuff. And, this is one of the reasons I like to get the slipcovers of the Family Guy, because the slipcovers always have different artwork than what's on the main cover. So worth getting for collector's purposes. And here we go, a collector's edition from a company that doesn't exist anymore. This is the Future Shop exclusive collector's edition of Volume 4. Which has, basically has an art book. Some artists' interpretations and some other stuff, some storyboard cards and stuff like that. And then it has just the regular Volume 4 inside. Oh, and in addition to that, it also has a bonus disc of, a sneak peek at The Winner and an episode of American Dog. The Winner was a show that Seth MacFarlane was doing. It was a live-action sitcom, basically about a 40-something who was trying to make it and wasn't doing very well. And it starred some guy who plays a clown in some medical show. I can't remember now. But anyway, I liked the pilot, and I thought it had promise. But I guess the general viewing public didn't, and it only lasted a few episodes. Let's see, and then we've got Volume 5. Someday I'll probably do a closer look at these just to kind of check out all the different packaging and stuff. Then we got Volume 6. Which actually the whole thing is a slipcover. How does this come out again? I think it comes out, yeah, it comes out like this. And there you go. And then it's inside. So quite a big slipcover for this one. And it's actually got plastic in there too. It's not just a cutout. And then we have Volume 7. Oddly, this seems to be the slipcover that's the easiest to find. I don't think I've ever seen Volume 7 without the slipcover. I don't know why. They just printed a bajillion of them, I guess. But there you go. So that's Volume 7. And And then volume 8. I'm not going to bother showing you all the different artwork because it'll just take too long to go through them all. But one of these days I'll do something about these and get you a better look at them. That's volume 9. And then I think this is where it goes. We have Partial Terms of Endearment, which is the infamous abortion episode. Yes, no topic is taboo with Family Guy. And then we have volume 10, which I waited way too long to get, and sadly did not get the slipcover. Ultimately decided just to get it, just to have the episodes, because I was tired of being behind. And then we have volume 11. Is that the same? No, just kind of similar. Okay, never mind. And then we have volume 12. And this is the last one where they went with volume numbers. Because just to add to the confusion, after this, they went with season 12. Which I guess is technically volume 13. And there you go. And then we have season 13, another one I waffled on getting and missed out on the slipcover, sadly. But I'm happy just to have it in the collection. And then season 14. Oh, doing the wrecking ball thing. Awesome. And season 15. This one I almost didn't get the slipcover. I thought it didn't have one because I couldn't find it anywhere. And then I found one copy at Walmart that had the slipcover. And I was like, son of a bitch, they do have a slipcover. I'm just going to go over to the other side here. It was just all the other places I looked didn't have it. I don't know why. But I have a feeling they've just become way more limited. And then we have Weird Al Yankovic, UHF. I got my little Weird Al section here. Some good stuff. Basically just wanted to keep all the Weird Al stuff together. And then we got the Ultimate Video Collection. So this is way outdated now. But this basically has all of his stuff from the 80s, 90s, up to the early 2000s. I think the most recent one on here is The Saga Begins, which was his music video, which is kind of a parody of the story of Star Wars Episode 1. So that's how far it goes. It goes from his earliest stuff up to Star Wars Episode 1. So I think it's time for a volume 2, Al. What do you say? Now we got the Weird Al Show, which is wonderful. So underrated. Sadly only lasted like one 13-episode season. But this was his Saturday morning show. And Rosie and I have watched these 13 episodes so many times. It's ridiculous. I just love this show so much. Very honest commentary on this as well, about how much the network was interfering and compromising the humor that he wanted to do for the show. Great stuff. Really good set. Then we have the Ren and Stimpy Show Uncut, which is and isn't true. There's some episodes that have some stuff missing and other episodes that have stuff added in. It's kind of a mixed bag, but it's all we got, so enjoy. And it's the original Ren and Stimpy from when John Kay was still working on it before he left. And then we have, speaking of Ralph Bakshi, we have Mighty Mouse, The New Adventures, which was one of his few forays into Saturday morning television, bringing some of his craziness to Saturday morning and giving us an updated Mighty Mouse. This series is freaking hilarious, and I highly recommend it to anyone who likes, sort of cartoons with a little bit of edge to them. That's why I put it with Ren and Stimpy. And then we have The Ripping Friends, which was another series by John Kay, basically all about a group of superheroes. This was really hilarious. I really wish we'd get a complete series set of this. For now, this is all we've got. It's basically a single disc release of the first 4 episodes. Oh, well. And then we have a couple of Charlie Brown movies. We got Bon Voyage, Charlie Brown, and Don't Come Back. That's where they go to France. We used to watch this in school, in elementary school all the time, as part of our French class, because there's a lot of French dialogue in there. So I didn't mind. It was a pretty awesome Charlie Brown movie. And then we got Race for Your Life, Charlie Brown. Great stuff. I really wish these would get Blu-ray releases. I would totally upgrade these. And then what this lacks in packaging, it's because it was, I think it was a pack-in with cereal. Yeah, it was a pack-in DVD with Rice Krispies. So a viewer sent this to me and just kind of threw it into a case for me. But it's Babar, King of the Elephants, the movie. Great movie, actually, and this is an official release. It was given away free with a box of cereal, so cool. Have some cereal, watch a movie. But yeah, that's a great adaptation of Babar. Then these are backwards. I gotta switch them around. So then we got Dinosaurs, the Jim Henson series about basically family sitcom starring dinosaurs, and a lot of stuff with, if very complimentary to the Flintstones, I think. So if you like one, you'll probably like the other. This is a great show. This is the first 2 seasons. Wonderful series. And then we have the complete 3rd and 4th seasons. So it's kind of nice. They didn't do it season by season. They just kind of gave us these 2 sets, and that's everything. Then we got Mr. Bean, the whole bean. I actually still have my laser discs of Mr. Bean as well, which I'm not going to pull out of storage for you. And then finally we have Fawlty Towers. So I guess I have a very tiny British comedy section there. Love Fawlty Towers. This is the definitive edition to get here too. It's just it's never going to look any better than this, unless maybe they put the location footage in high def and put it on a Blu-ray. But most of it was shot on video, and this is about as good as it's going to look. But it's got some great special features on here, interviews and commentaries and stuff. It's awesome. Okay, 2/3 of the way done. We've got one more row to do, just down below there. So let's angle the camera down and we'll take a look. Okay, here we go. And as you can see, I put everything back on the shelf there. Finishing up the animated sitcoms here, we got one of the granddaddies of them all, which I think now is either holds or is about to break the record for longest running sitcom ever. We have The Simpsons. Yeah, there we go. So we got season 1, season 2, lovely shiny sets. Season 3, you can see they were kind of going with a similar packaging motif for the first several seasons there with the TV set design. And you just kind of see how the family evolved visually over the first few seasons. And season 4. These are great sets. Absolutely loaded with extras and commentaries and all kinds of archival goodies. You got all the Butterfinger commercials on here. You got all the music videos. It's got everything. Like, basically, it is a definitive archive of the complete history of The Simpsons. And I just wrecked the backing on that one. Fuck! Oh, well. Anyway, I probably should have taken it off. Anyway, I don't even know. Oh, you know what? There is no reason for me to have this backing on here because it just has the frickin'... I don't even know why I have the backing on there, actually. All the information is duplicated on the back of the box itself. Well, I'm going to go on a backing ripping off binge later. Anyway, here's season 6. I honestly don't know why I left those on. I usually check and take them off. But, yeah, I don't. Maybe for some reason I thought they didn't have the information underneath. Then we got season 7. There we go. Season 8 with Mr. Sparkler. Mr. Sparkle. Oh, come on. Seriously? Ugh. Some of the cutouts. Like, they have a lot of cutouts sometimes on the cover for, like, just little things that poke through. Like, see, 200th episode. And then if we shake it out. How do we get this out? I don't even know how we get this one out. Oh, this one is... Oh, it's got some kind of weird flap. Anyway, you slide it out and then there's something else underneath. It's like they like to have little sort of packaging gags like that, I guess you could call it. There we go. And season 11. Yeah, you can see they abandoned the TV motif fairly quickly and got a little more creative with it. And then we get... and then here's actually where we're starting to get into just the heads, like just the faces on them. I think it was around season 6 or 7 where they started to do, the 3D molded Simpsons heads. A lot of fans complained about those because they didn't fit nicely on the shelf with like the regular sets did. So they started offering alternative sets for those who just wanted the regular boxes. Where do we leave off? Yeah, then we have season 12. And there's a ton of really nice package art in these as well. Like, they really go all out with the packaging in these sets, and give you just a ton of package art inside and out. It's great. And each one kind of has a themed motif. Like, this one is video games, the other one was comic books and stuff like that. So they kind of have a theme for each one. And then the menus. The menus are full of original animation as well, of just the characters in a particular locale just kind of doing stuff, often related to the episodes that are on that disc. So a lot of thought goes into these sets. They're really, really nice. I got season 15. I started collecting these quite late, actually. It was one that I had meant to get for a long time. And now I'm really enjoying watching them because I didn't realize just how many episodes I've actually never seen. Because I kind of fell out of touch with it for a number of years, and it's great to be getting caught up with these season sets. Then we have season 17, which for a long time was the last season set released until late last year. They finally brought out season 18. And we're supposed to be getting season 19 and a new deluxe edition of season 20, which is why I haven't bothered with season 20 yet. But I don't know when that's supposed to be coming out. I haven't heard anything about it. And TV shows on DVD.com just shut down recently, so I don't know where to go for news now. So hopefully it hasn't been canceled or something, because we haven't heard anything for a very long time. But my understanding was they were working on seasons 18, 19, and 20, so we'd have a solid run. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I really hope they keep doing them, because they are superior sets and an absolute treat for fans of the show. And then I'm just going to actually go over to the other side here again. All right. Then we have Futurama, Volume 1. Much like the Family Guy sets, I really wanted to get the original releases of Futurama, again, for the additional package art that they contain. These have been re-released a few times over the years, and at some point I'm going to do a closer look at my set of them, so you can see, you can get a look at these ones, and then also just kind of touch on some of the re-releases over the years. But I like this set because it looks nice on the shelf, and you get way more package art as well. Because for example, if we take a quick look here, each set is individual slim cases, much like the Family Guy sets, and each slim case has its own unique artwork, which is quite nice. And then we have Volume 4, and this brings us up to the end of the original series. So kind of like what happened with Family Guy, the show was canceled and then put out on DVD, and the DVD sold really well, so it came back a few years later with a series of TV movies that were later split up into 4 episodes apiece. So essentially, we got 4 TV movies, which were the length of 4 episodes each. So we pretty much got another season of like a 16-episode long season, essentially. And then, as of the 3rd movie, Futurama went high def. So we got Bender's Game there, which is the first high def release. I don't know if they may have made the first 2 movies in high def. I don't know, but they've never received a Blu-ray release, sadly. We got Into the Wild Green Yonder. And then, I guess this was kind of a test. They sold really well and, were well received. So we got a new season of Futurama. And here we go. So this is Volume 5. And then the first 4 volumes were re-released in packaging that kind of mirrors this, with each one focusing on a different character. I didn't feel any need to double dip there because it's all the same content with less packaging. So, I'm good, thanks. I'll just take this as this looks different because this is the new high-def Futurama. And then volume 7. And finally, volume 8. And this is the final end of Futurama. It is now officially over. It was revived very briefly with a single episode of a podcast featuring the original cast in character, doing basically a podcast from the future kind of thing. And I heard some clips of it. They had like a preview that you could check out for free. And it was really funny, and I would love to hear the whole thing, or if there's some kind of a release of it that you can buy or download. Definitely want to get my hands on that because it sounded like a lot of fun. But sadly, it looks like Futurama, as we know it, is done. And then we have this sort of getting into some grown-up animation again here, which kind of goes along with it. We have Twice Upon a Time. Waited so long for this to get a proper release of some kind, and then finally Warner Archive put it out. This is an animated film produced by George Lucas, and it's just so twisted and bizarre. I love it. And then another one that's kind of more for grown-ups, I guess. We have Gay Paris, which is about cats in Paris, and I believe it was done by Chuck Jones. Written by Chuck Jones. Okay, well, Chuck Jones has some... You can definitely see his style in the animation. But, yeah, so Chuck Jones, Gay Paris. And then we have Rock and Rule. This did get a a Blu-ray release, which I missed out on. But as far as DVD editions go, this is definitive. It's got both cuts of the movie and piles and piles and piles of extras. It is just beautiful. I didn't even know this was out. I just happened across it by chance when I was browsing DVDs one day. And then finally, we've got the DVD edition of Aeon Flux, the wonderful sort of cyberpunk series from Peter Chung. Great stuff. And I should mention, I do have a VHS release of that as well. Let me just grab it just to be thorough here. Here we go. So we got the Aeon Flux VHS release. This was the first VHS release that they put out. It contains 4 complete episodes from the regular show, as well as several of the original shorts from Liquid Television. So quite a nice collection. One thing that is interesting, and one of the reasons I kept this, is the DVD edition actually is kind of a remastered edition where they redid all the color digitally, so the coloring is slightly different. It's got a little more texture to it. This is the original color as it appeared on television. Also, one of the episodes, I guess for some kind of rights reasons or something, I don't even know what the circumstances were specifically. One of the episodes has one of the supporting characters in the episode revoiced by a different voice actor. This has the original voice actor in it, so it has that episode in here. So a couple reasons to keep this VHS tape around. And whenever I mention Aeon Flux, people always ask me about the Max. So yes, I have the Max as well. This is the original VHS release, which actually cut about 30 minutes of material out from the original MTV Oddities broadcasts. However, I do have an off-air recording that I made back in the 90s of the original MTV Oddities version. So I have the original uncut version, and I keep this around kind of as a curiosity, just because it's an interesting sort of alternate cut of it, and nice little collector's item. So much so, I actually have 2 of them. Yeah, and there we go. I don't know why. I think these were both... One of them was sent... I think this one was sent to me by a viewer, and this one I picked up on my own. But anyway, nice to have. There is a manufacturer-on-demand DVD release of the Max, which is more or less uncut. It does have one of the songs changed, though. The song I Want to Marry a Lighthouse Keeper, which is so prevalent in the original aired version, is changed inexplicably to I Want to Marry a School Bus Driver. Otherwise, it's the same song. I don't know why. So there you go. I'm sure you'll agree a lot of entertaining animated awesomeness to be found there, covering a pretty wide range of eras and types of humor and types of content. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. So at some point, if you guys are interested, I might just do sort of a short overview video of these VHS tapes. I'm not going to do all my VHS stuff because, I mean, I've got a few, but nowhere near as much as I used to. But these ones are kind of interesting. I mean, they're the oversized boxes and such. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know in the comments, and I will do an overview of that as well. I figure might as well be thorough while we're going through the shelves here, right? Okay, that is it from me to you for now. So until next time, thanks for watching. Big thanks to my Patreon sponsors, and I'll see you next time. Until then, sayonara. Oh my god, it was on pause the whole time. No, just kidding. Until next time, I'll see you next time.